Oh, Eddie, baby, won't you come to my arms tonight?
I'm Sarah, I'm 20, and I'm a queer fangirl who spends too much time on the internet.
I'm Robert, I'm not quite 50. I don't spend as much time on the internet, but I have seen way too many movies. And this is 50 v 20.
The show where we discuss queer representation in media.
Last week, we talked about It, the miniseries from 1990. This week, we are talking about It, the film from 2017, correct?
Yes, yeah, 2017.
Particularly Ready. Are Eddie and Richie gay?
Yes. No, we'll get there later.
You can start with general thoughts if you want. Otherwise, I'll get my notes open.
Oh, gosh. You know, okay, so I'll give a little backstory real quick. This movie came out when I was in the 9th grade. So it was, like, very big in high school. I've seen it many a times. And at least, like, in my experience with my sort of, like, queer friendship group in high school, everyone was obsessed with this movie. It was a big thing. And I think the Ready stuff was, like, a bit more on the nose than the miniseries that we had in the past.
Yeah, it definitely feels deliberate.
Yeah.
Now that they're playing into it. I don't remember if we saw anything that said the kids were playing into it. I know in the adults, Bill Hader is very much into it.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I don't know too much, and I don't have a quote, so I don't want to put words in people's mouths. But yeah, so I think in this one, we definitely have more actors that are, like, playing into it and knowledgeable about what the ship is. I don't know if anyone from the miniseries, like, even thought about it. Maybe they did, but we don't have any, like, thing to go off from them.
No, in Pennywise, the documentary about it, I don't think they even talk about it as a subject. But mostly because they can't include footage from the new movies.
Yeah.
I believe that was made before It Chapter 2 came out and shows some behind-the-scenes footage from the It Chapter 1.
Okay.
In one shot, but they can't talk about it. So yeah, it's just, whether it's there or not, comes down to the content in the movie. I don't have as many notes as last time. Oh. You have no notes, oh no.
I have no notes, but I have
seen this movie. But you've seen this many times, and we definitely have feelings. This was, when is this? I'm trying to think of when we first see Patrick Hockstetter. He's the bully who gets killed in the sewer. Yes. The first time he's near Richie, I wrote, the bully Patrick was checking Richie out.
Yeah,
why he definitely looks him up and down.
Looking him up and down.
There's something going on there. And then he also calls Stan a flamer, although we don't know that Stan's gay, but that he uses that as an insult.
Some people think so. Stenbro fans, I see you. I validate you.
Wait, Stan with Bill?
Yeah, so there's two.
I would think it'd be Stan and Richie, because we know they're good friends.
I will briefly explain this
Richie shows up to watch him become a man.
For the people of Tumblr. Yeah, so, like, the main ships are Ready, obviously, which is, like, you know, big one. But some people also ship Stan and Bill, and then other people ship Bill and Mike. So those are kind of, like, the three that people
Bill and Mike I get, especially as an adults.
Yeah.
In Chapter 2, it definitely fits.
I feel like the Stan and Bill one isn't really supported, but, like, I get it. Like, it's cute, but, like, it's not really there. Sorry, Senbro shippers. I support you.
I don't remember what they're interacting with, but Eddie says they're going to get a staph infection.
Have you ever heard of a staph infection? Also, a staph infection. So unsanitary.
And Richie says, "I'll show you a staph infection."
Oh yeah, when they're in the sewers.
Yeah, at some point, probably maybe just the water.
In the beginning, no, they're finding the shoe. It's when they find the shoe and they're like, "Oh my god."
Oh, when he stands back by the opening, right?
Yeah, when Stan and Eddie don't want to go in, but Richie's just like, whatever, I'll follow you, Bill, whatever, I don't care.
Specifically, because this is set, the It Chapter 1 is set in 1989 to come pretty close to the 1990 miniseries.
I mean, he's bleeding all over, and you guys know that there's an AIDS epidemic happening right now as we speak, right? Me and my mom's friend in New York City got it just by touching a dirty pole in the subway, and a drop of AIDS blood got into his system. We're hanging now.
Eddie references the AIDS epidemic.
He does.
And says his mother's friend in New York got it from touching a dirty pole.
That feels like it has to be a metaphor.
See, my impulse was, there's the obvious, I think the more obvious joke with pole, but I thought person from Poland.
Oh my god, what?
And I'm like, it still fits.
Isn't Eddie Polish, though?
Oh, yeah.
Why would he be thinking that?
I didn't think he was thinking that. I was thinking that.
Say that.
Yeah, he got AIDS from touching a dirty pole. Which, yeah, that means
Yeah, come on. That's like on the nose. That's like...
It's also, I'll say it now, even though I don't remember when in the movie he's wearing it. Bill, I believe, is the one wearing a, Tracker trucking shirt, which is a reference to the book. The Tracker brothers are...
Brothers, in air quotes.
Are two men who live together in a house and take really good care of their house. And Eddie's mother does not like it.
I wonder why Eddie's mother doesn't like it.
I wonder if I can find the specific reference. It's the Tracker Brothers Truck Depot. And here it is. The house on West Broadway, which belonged to Phil and Tony Tracker.
On Broadway. Sorry.
A pair of lifelong bachelors, which is code for gay.
It is.
Was probably the loveliest of the large houses on that street, a spotlessly white mid-Victorian with green lawns and great beds of flowers that rioted in a neatly landscaped way, of course, all the spring and summer long. Okay, goes on describing it.
So they basically have a beautiful
It goes on
house.
for a whole paragraph talking about how great the house is. And then, any two men who bother keeping a house so nice must be queers, Eddie's mother had once said in a disgruntled sort of way, and Eddie hadn't dared ask for clarification.
Oh. So it's like there. It's like...
Yeah. They're queer. Bill's wearing their shirt. So
Bill supports it.
So Bill's into it.
You know, Bill is like an ally. That's what I get from Bill.
And, yeah,
He's
that
an
fits.
ally.
And Eddie not only didn't know what syphilis was, which we talked about last episode, but he apparently didn't know what queer was. No wonder he's closeted. He doesn't even know it's an option.
Yeah.
He must have been really confused when the leper offered.
It's like, what?
He's like, I don't know what that is.
He's like, I'm confused. Help.
Boogers Taliendo told me what sex is, and that's not it.
And Richie's just trying to, like, ease him into it slowly. Like, try to educate him, but not scare him.
Yeah.
You know?
And Bill supports it.
And Bill's an ally.
It all fits.
Yeah.
Where were we? Richie. We were at Dirty Pole. Yeah. Richie, you have to suck the wound before applying the Band-Aids. Not true. Ever? Actually? So, just medical advice for general. If you get bit by a snake, which is usually the sucking of it, sucking wounds part.
Don't do that.
You shouldn't do that. It doesn't serve any purpose. The heart pumps too fast. You're not gonna suck the poison out before it gets in the blood.
Yeah, Richie doesn't know what he's talking about.
I already referenced the leper and syphilis last time, but we do get the leper in much more graphic detail in this movie.
Oh gosh, yeah, the leper
much more explicit, talking about sex, so it's basically the scene out of the book, which it's actually, I think, more explicit than the book, because that's a reference after the fact of that thing that happened by Neibolt Street. And in the movie, we see it happen at the time it happens.
Cassie agrees.
Cassie's an ally as well.
Cassie ships it.
Cassie named, of course, for Castiel. Tune in a few weeks to hear more about Castiel.
We will get there. Okay.
I'm not sure if this counts as a metaphor for anything, but the fact that Eddie has 2 fanny packs, and then when he, breaks his arm and they actually put up a fight, and arguably he's become a bigger... He's not a man. I don't want to be patriarchal about it, but they just fought off a clown, at least once.
Yeah, he's
and he broke his arm. He throws his fanny pack off into the weeds. And you know what they cut? One of the deleted scenes. He picks it up.
Oh.
But in the movie, he does not. He threw away his fanny pack full of medicine. His gazebos. No more gazebos.
He's over the gazebos.
That is all the specific notes I had on it, Chapter 1. We do get the triangle of balloons.
We do get the triangle of balloons, which feels very on the nose.
Which, is that the same scene with the leper?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, when he's getting chased by the leper, he turns around and Pennywise is holding the upside down triangle, which I don't really have the historical facts on that.
I assume,
but it is a symbol for LGBT people.
I didn't look this up because you're our queer expert here.
I don't know qualified for
I
that,
assume the red triangle is taking back the symbol from the pink triangle,
yes.
which was, that was the Nazi thing, right?
Yeah.
That they put on gay people. And so it's like adopting that as your own sort of symbol, or maybe Pennywise is referencing Nazis. He's Pennywise. Who knows?
Yeah.
So yeah, we get the triangle of balloons with Eddie.
With Eddie.
In it, Chapter 2, we'll get them in reference to Richie. So it definitely links them up together.
Yeah.
What else do we got in this one? We don't get the shower scene because we get the leper in the Neibolt Street. I was going to mention the arcade with Richie, but that's in Chapter 2.
It is, yeah. I think chapter 1 doesn't necessarily get into their relationship so much, like, romantically, or, just, like, a romantic relationship, but it definitely sets up, like, their dynamic, how close they are, like...
Oh, yeah.
It gives us, like, a really good foundation for a chapter 2, which, like, really gets into it.
I think there's an inherent thing when you're dealing with, the characters are, 11 and 12 years old.
Yeah.
You're not going to make it a romantic story unless that's what your movie's about. And it is not a romantic plot. It just happens to have some love, some relationship stuff going on. And as kids, it's much more important that the 7 of them are all friends more than anything else.
Yes. We also have the fact that they're the only 2 who hug after the blood moment when they all cut their hands. They're the only... Here, I'm showing him a gift.
Oh!
I can post it on Instagram for you.
When they cut their palms.
When they cut their palms, they give each other a hug.
Cool.
And they're the only 2 who
to be fair, don't Beverly and Bill kiss after that scene, though? But
whatever.
That makes sense. They're, at that time, that's the kid pairing for them, and that's the kid pairing on the other side.
And that's what they can do at that time, is a hug.
Of course, Beverly did already kiss Ben. She just doesn't remember it.
Yeah, that part is weird. I know we're not talking about those people, but what? Like, I don't really get that part, because why do they kiss? Like, she doesn't have the memory that they kiss?
No, because doesn't he kiss her and that's what wakes her up? So
yeah,
she
but
just,
it's
like, does Snow White remember the prince kissing her? No.
But they talk about it
She just
after.
woke up to some guy leaning over her coffin.
Doesn't she get, like, established to her out of the deadlights that the poem was written by Ben? Like, she just forgets.
Well, no, because when they mention the poem, isn't it also right then?
Well, but she's out of the deadlights.
Yeah, but barely. And then she forgets a lot of the child stuff, though.
Well, no, but even then, it's, like, weird that Ben's like, I'm the one who wrote the poem, and then Beverly's like, oh, cool. And then, like, a few scenes later, she's, like, kissing Bill. It's, like, kind of...
I'd have to check the timing again. I swear in the moment, I thought it was just she doesn't remember that dialogue either.
I don't know. I really thought she snapped out of it, but...
I think that was the point. Maybe they didn't edit it well.
There's also a part in the projector scene where Eddie starts freaking out and all that, like...
You said projector. I thought the school scene from chapter 2.
Oh, no. The scene with the map. Yeah. When Eddie starts freaking out, and then they all, like, back up. Richie, like, pulls Eddie back and, like, holds on to him, like, while they're doing that. Which, no one else is really holding on to each other like that.
Like the miniseries, doesn't pass the Bechdel test.
No.
I think fails the Make-A-Mori test. Because in this case, Beverly's the damsel in distress. Mm-hmm. And has to be saved by the boys, including one of them kissing her, so she's basically Snow White. Which is fine. I hate that the whole Pennywise thing is sort of fairy tale. Even it is basically a fairy tale-ish structure to a story for Stephen King. So it's fine. I'm
a huge fan of fairy tales, but the kissing trope is, like, weird.
And it doesn't explicitly tell us that anyone's gay. Does it pass the viewing
Not yet.
test? Can we infer it? We can infer it better from this than the miniseries, I think. That someone is identifiably lesbian, gay. Actually, to be fair, doesn't Greta suggest that Beverly is gay? Is she call her lesbian or she's just call her a slut?
She calls her slut. Oh. To be honest, for me, I think Chapter 1 is kind of on the same level as the miniseries. They're both not outright in any sort of way, but there's enough there to, like, think it.
I mean, to be fair, if Chapter 1 had inexplicably just not made any money at the theater, they might not have made it Chapter 2, so they had to tell a relatively complete story.
Yeah.
So, they're not going to get into that because it doesn't matter yet, because we're not seeing where these people are going.
Yeah.
Now, that brings us to segments. Like last time. Am I making this up?
I'm gonna put it kind of at the same level, to be honest.
I think this is a little less spoilers for next episode. I think the miniseries is leaning toward delusions of fandom. Chapter 1 is getting closer to queerbaiting.
Yeah,
and then Chapter 2 is getting closer to healthy representation, but still bear your guess.
Healthy.
Healthy in air quotes.
It's not really healthy.
Or maybe not healthy representation. But outright representation.
Yes,
these characters are gay.
Yeah. yeah, it's kind of weird. It is a little bit more queer baiting in a way. I think it would be even more queer baiting if, like, It Chapter 2 didn't play out the way that it does.
Yeah.
Because from, like, what I remember of, like, this movie coming out in 2017, the Ready fans really, like, talked about the movie a lot and, like, made it super popular, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, other factors did as well, but,
Like the ones who liked it from the first one.
Yeah, exactly. So they made it, like, trend on Tumblr and all this stuff and kept the buzz going until It Chapter 2 came out. So it's kind of bordering on queer baiting. But I'm not as offended by it, you know?
Well, I think, weirdly, the fact that it isn't explicit, it doesn't say, this kid's gonna grow up to be gay. It doesn't tell us that. Makes it less queer baiting. It's not, he's acting like a gay little kid. Mm-hmm. It's, we can believe, especially in retrospect, that kid's gonna grow up and realize he's gay.
Yeah.
So the movie is not making a point of it, which helps. It means less representation, but also not negative representation.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I think movies, too, are a little bit different than, like, TV shows when it comes to queer baiting. I mean, queer baiting is always bad, but it's always kind of, you know, not great. But in movies, it's kind of different because, like, they're not trying to drag things out. They're not trying to rope you in to watch something. It's
not a will they or won't they sitcom trope.
Exactly.
Moonlighting.
It's not giving the magicians.
Tune in several weeks. We'll get to that.
We'll talk about that later, too.
Where, that was interesting. Because I'd say The Magicians is arguably all three corners of that triangle.
The Magicians,
depending on the episode. Because it definitely has healthy representation. Well, we'll get to that when we talk about The Magicians in a few weeks.
We have a lot to say.
And we already talked about the names in this are the same, so we don't need to deal with the name segment.
Names.
So, other thoughts on It Chapter 1 before we get to next episode, It Chapter 2?
It Chapter 2, where we get really into it. No, I think Reddy's adorable. It was great. I love it. It's a great movie.
I think even the kids' parts of it get more ready, as it were, in Chapter 2. Like, they get more explicit in
They lay out that foundation.
Like, just them in playing, like, kicking each other in the hammock is like, oh my god.
That's in It Chapter 2.
I know, that's what I'm saying is, even the kids' part in the next movie becomes more explicit.
Totally, yeah.
But It Chapter 1 is standing on its own a little more, so it doesn't quite get there.
They're besties with, like, a little spice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're close. And it's unfortunate that they didn't, in canon, they didn't continue to be friends. Because, you know, Eddie gets moved out of town by his mother.
That's not my headcanon.
I don't remember where Richie goes. But I know Eddie ends up, if you don't know Stephen King, Eddie ends up growing up next to Paul Sheldon, a different best-selling author.
This is not the headcanon that the fandom has adopted. In the fandoms...
I'm not talking about headcanon. I'm talking about canon.
They go to high school together. It's cute. It's a great time. They stay best friends until they go to college. So...
And then they forget each other exist?
And then they forget each other. Yeah, well, I was going to say you've never read a fanfic.
No, I haven't. I haven't read a lot of fan fiction.
I have,
weirdly, I've read some Buzz Lightyear and Woody fan fiction.
Oh my god.
Which was disturbing in its...
No. I'm trying to explain the headcanon.
You're trying to explain that. But I won't let you.
Basically, in, like, the Ready fanfic world, a lot of the fanfics are written, like, they go to high school together, they have, like, a whole time, and then, like, Richie goes to LA for whatever, and they, like, forget when they go off to college.
Well, because he's gonna be a comedian.
Yeah.
He'd go to New York or...
So basically, as soon as they leave for college, a big city, they forget each other, and that is the fandom headcanon. So
okay.
I will respect it.
Well, and also in the book, Eddie is... Oh no, it's the miniseries where they had him be he deals with, like, he's a actuarial table guy, or he runs the car dealer. It doesn't matter.
Isn't he a driver?
In the book, he owns a fleet of like a limo service.
Right.
Which I think the new movie goes for that, because he's driving one of those cars when he crashes. Right?
No. He's a risk analyst.
Oh, that's in the new one. See, I was mixing up. When you watch all three in 3 days in a row, or 4 days, right in a row.
We just watched a lot of it for days.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's all for It Chapter 1. Tune in next time for It Chapter 2. In the meantime,
tell us what you think and send me your gifts because I love them. Okay.
Subscribe to the show, review the show, follow the show on Facebook at Lemming Drop Studio Tour.
And check us out on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at 50v20 podcast.
And you can support the show if you like at patreon.com/lemmingdrops.
Yes. Bye.
I'm ready, baby.